Are you being consistent or are you just sabotaging yourself? In the name of perfection, I used to think I was just being disciplined, but I was stuck in perfectionism. Consistency is the act of showing up no matter how difficult, no matter the odds, is to show up constantly. I don't want to also use the word consistent. I'm tempted to use the word consistently again, but showing up no matter the odds, no matter the situation, no matter how hard it is, you still show up, right? Perfectionism is needing something to be flawless, without mistake, without anything wrong, like without. I would like us to look at the traps of perfectionism. And one of these traps of perfectionism is always criticizing yourself, right? You want things to be perfect at all costs. So you don't see all the efforts, any other efforts that you've put into that goal. You just end up looking at that one mistake that you've made or that one thing that went wrong while trying to pursue your goals. And another trap of perfectionism is quitting or starting over entirely. I remember I started 75 hard challenge like 12 days ago, but right now I am counting just 9 days, and I'm going to explain why. So at the cost of starting the 75 hard challenge, the rules are actually for us to start over when you do something wrong, right? But this challenge has helped me to like discover something else, something that has been a pattern for a very long time in my life. I started 75 hard challenge 12 days ago, but I'm currently at day 9. The day that was supposed to be the 8 or the 9, the 8 and the 9 were the days I flopped. I flopped on my diet, I flopped on the gallon of water a day, and then the first day that it happened that I flopped, I wanted to give up entirely. I was like, what's the need, right? What's the use of going on this challenge and then messing things up? So let me just leave it and then look for something else or start another challenge, or if possible. In fact, starting over was the last thing on my mind. I was contemplating starting over after I've already given up entirely in my mind, right? I don't want to start something and then make mistakes. I've always wanted it to be flawless. I've always wanted to start something and then that thing should go seamlessly without any stitches, without any stress. That was the kind of person I was. Whenever I have these thoughts entirely, I personally I just quit whatever it is that I've been doing, whatever goal it is that I've set for myself. I just quit entirely. I don't even start over. That's how bad it was. And I discovered that during this time, after thinking about it, I was like, what exactly? So does it mean that the 5, or should I say 7 days that went by was now useless? So I did it perfectly for like 7 days. What exactly was my problem? Why is it that I'm choosing to give up now because of this mistake I've made? Why am I giving up and then wasting 7 days of hard work, of work that I've put into the 75 hard? But then again, after thinking and asking myself what exactly was my problem, what exactly is the problem with my mindset, I now discovered that I wasn't ready to make mistakes. I wasn't ready to forgive myself for making mistakes and then starting off where I stopped. But after deliberately thinking over and then considering all the things I was to consider, I discovered that actually nobody was perfect, and these mistakes were just part of it, right? I believe that even people who did the 75 hard, who are still doing 75 hard, have maybe fumbled in one way or the other, but they kept going. I just believe so, because nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. I need to say that again too. I need to say that again to remind myself. Nobody is perfect, and I am not perfect either. I'm a human being, right? So another trap of perfectionism is not forgiving yourself for a little mistake. We tend to forget that making mistakes are part of the growth, are part of the journey in whatever thing or whatever goal it is that we set our mind to. Making those mistakes, you will definitely make mistakes, but what is the big issue now is trying to take corrections, like learning from those mistakes. I've made my mistake. The first day I made the mistake, I decided to give up and I fumbled again the second day because I allowed myself think that that mistake was what actually made up or made me stay out of focus for 75 hard. I allowed myself think that way. And if only I thought about maybe reconsidering or forgiving myself since from the first day, I would have maybe fumbled just for one day and then pick up the second day, the next day of the challenge. Another trap of perfectionism is spending your time polishing instead of progressing. And I remember so many goals that I've set for my life before. I've always tried my possible best. I always wanted things to move perfectly. I always wanted to be so seamless that I forget that I've said it, like I forget that the imperfection is also part of my journey entirely. I spent so much time trying to make things in order, just like when I wanted to start YouTube, right? I wanted the aesthetics. I forgot that, okay, I needed my first few videos are just the process of me learning YouTube, me learning how to edit, me learning so many other things I needed to learn from the foundation of whatever goal it is. Imperfection is part of the perfection. Did I just start another, like, that's a word, like imperfection is part of perfection? Yeah. It makes sense.
I never expected it.
The imperfection was part of the perfection I was looking for. So instead of spending time polishing and making sure everything is so perfect, you should also be willing to learn from those mistakes, learn from those imperfections to be able to progress, right? And another trap of perfectionism I want to bring to our notice is the fact that we tie our worth to how perfectly we perform. We only see the perfect side. We only want to appreciate and give ourselves a tap on the back only for the things that have gone perfect in our lives. We now forget the things that are so imperfect that has shaped us into being perfect human beings. Even though sometimes for you to be able to notice that yes, you've learned from your mistakes, it takes the grace of God. I only believe that our goals are being met because we perfectly executed them, right? So when we don't execute them perfectly the way we want, we now sabotage everything. We sabotage our progress. Those little efforts that we put in, we sabotage it completely. So now we're going to talk about how perfectionism leads to self-sabotaging. First of all, you abandon your goals instead of building momentum. And let me explain. That's self-sabotaging, right? You decide to just kill whatever progress it is that you've put into achieving that goal and decide to just give up instead of encouraging and motivating yourself to do better, to keep moving, to keep working, right? You just kill whatever progress you've put into a particular goal entirely. You kill everything. And another reason why perfectionism could lead to self-sabotaging is it makes your goal exhausting. Like you're always trying to be perfect, that goal entirely, you feel as if there is no need, like it's just stressing you. Like this goal, I want to make YouTube, like 10 YouTube videos a month, but then I want it to be so perfect. I want it to be without flaw. And then when you start, maybe you start the progress, you start the process of making videos. You make one video today, you make another video tomorrow. Like it becomes so exhausting. You want to be so perfect. You want to be perfect so bad that the goal becomes too big for you, and then you don't see the need to continue again because it's draining, right? It's exhausting. Another thing is that you fear you're not good enough, so you don't even start entirely. And I now understand the reason why so many times we set goals and then we don't even start them. We just write them down. We want to change our lives, but then we don't believe in ourselves so much because we want everything to be so perfect. We want the image in our head. We want to like visualize whatever it is we have in our head, right? That perfect picture we have in our heads, we want to bring it out to life. And then when we don't have the means to do that, we don't even start pursuing our goals entirely at all. We don't do that. I had to reframe my mind of what consistency was, and that is progress over perfectionism, right, which is one of the most obvious. Imperfectionism being part of the steps in growing into a perfect self. Right? Rest and flexibility being part of growth. I celebrate progress and not perfection. All I need to do is just show up for my goals consistently. I no longer think all or nothing, but rather something is better than nothing. I've always thought consistency meant perfection. Consistency is meant to be sustainable. You should be able to keep showing up for a long time. Do not let perfectionism turn your discipline into self-sabotage. Enjoy the journey. Make peace with yourself. Forgive yourself for that mistake. And then move on. Continue from where you stopped. This has taken me a long time to realize. I just discovered what I have done to myself for a very long time. Thanks to 75 Hard, I now know better and I am going to do better. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you love videos like this, please like, subscribe, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.